everybody, it's your girl Curly. We want to welcome you to another episode of Curly Girl Politics. I want to thank everybody who watched the last video, kind of our inaugural video, the most views I've ever had, and so just really excited and ready to come back and do this next video. So thank you so much for joining me this week. And I hope after this you'll join me again, because you might be a little upset about what the show is about and what my opinion is this week. But, you know, that's what we're here for. It's not to all agree. It's to give an opinion and to be able to explain the way that I feel. And hopefully you can agree. And if not, maybe at least just see my side. So the title of the show today, I'm sure, got some attention from you all. But as usual, I'm asking you to hear me out before you get too mad. To be clear, these are my personal views, and I understand what and why both Naomi Osaka and Simone Biles did what they did personally. But there's still something about their choices that don't sit right with me. And don't get me wrong, they don't need my permission to make decisions, but they're public figures and I'm allowed to give my opinion on it. So this is a personal preference, and I'm probably just not progressive enough to agree with what everybody else is saying, but my personal opinion is, you know, based on the choices that these ladies have made, it's cool, but I just don't think everything needs applause. Last week, Simone Biles, who is undoubtedly the GOAT in gymnastics, and she's an American gymnast, she had a really tough week. And I'm sure you've seen this story everywhere. Last week on Tuesday, Simone had began competing on the USA Olympic gymnastics team. She was kind of having a bad night. She had a few rough landings and things just didn't seem to be going well. And it was during the all-around team competition that she announced that she was going to step back. So the all-around is they have a few different styles that they have to do, and members of the team compete, and then their collective score is judged against other countries that are doing the same thing. And so, you know, it almost be like she's kind of, I guess, looked at as the anchor because she was the GOAT, certainly the best. So you're the best, if you're the greatest of all time, you're definitely the best on the team. So her scores, they were, you know, kind of relying on her to be there and perform well, even though everybody has to perform well. So she made the announcement that she was going to step back from the team and allow them to continue competing without her. And there was someone else who was able to step up, but your GOAT is not competing in the Olympics. What happened after that was later she withdrew from continuing in the individual all-around competition. And that was last week on Thursday. And so I kind of talked about the team all-around. That's where you do the 4 different events. When it's individual, you do them and you're scored for yourself. So you're not competing as a team, you're competing as an individual. She withdrew from that. And what she did was she opted out of 2 events, and there were 2 more that she still could consider competing in. And actually, as of the taping of this, I believe she did get a bronze on the balance beam. So she did get a medal. It was a bronze medal. She did the balance beam. But let's be clear. Simone doesn't have anything to prove to any of us. She doesn't have anything to prove to me. She's already a 4-time gold medal winner. She was on the team for the 2016 Olympics. She has set records, and she's dealt with committees saying they don't really know how to score her accurately, given that she's so much better than everybody else and can do things that other people can't do. Just as a hint to the Olympic Committee and the judges, I would say make this woman the winner of all. Just total domination if that's how she's performing. Well, I would say that at least that would have been my answer if Simone was giving one of her stellar performances that we're all used to. But alas, she did not. And instead of continuing to compete, Simone lost confidence in herself, and now, you know, she stands as someone who didn't compete in a few of the individual competitions. She didn't compete in the team competition. And this is in the Olympics. It only comes around every 4 years. So a lot of people are standing up and giving her applause, but a lot of people are also criticizing her. And I'm in that latter group. Everybody is saying she's brave not to compete, but I just don't feel that way. So let me be clear and say that I've been reading and watching all of the repetitive, because everybody's posting the same thing, the repetitive supportive tweets and memes and Facebook essays, and I've been reading all of that, but yet I still feel away. Now, I have to admit that I've never done gymnastics, so you all top-notch gymnasts, feel free to let me know in the comments about your opinion. However, I have been an athlete and a competitor, and quitting never sits well with me. It doesn't matter if it's sports, it's life. I have a thing about quitting. And I want to show you a video. In this video, it's actually really good, so I encourage you to watch the whole thing. But Simone is answering different questions, and they were talking about the competitive spirit and the gymnasts are really competitive. And I want you to watch this video because she talks about her not being competitive. Like literally, she said that she doesn't go out to win. So watch this video and then we'll come back and we'll talk about it.
Lifestyle. They are not very nice and super competitive in all aspects of life. I'm actually not very competitive at all. In the gym or like in a competition, my goal is never to win. It just kind of happens. But I also feel like whenever you're at the top, everybody like preys on your downfall, which is really strange to me.
Okay, so we had a chance to watch it. And my takeaway for that clip is, so you have no competitive spirit? Like, I don't know. That just, don't get me wrong. She's blessed. She has talent. She's certainly the GOAT when it comes to gymnastics. There's no question about that. But as a competitor, I personally am disappointed, and I'm allowed to have those feelings. You know, things get hard, and a lot of times things can seem almost impossible. And when things aren't going our way, I understand the desire to just give up, but you don't quit. And you can say what you want, but I don't like quitters. It drives me crazy. So in my opinion, even though she is certainly the GOAT, just in terms of the way I think about her, it takes her down a notch or two because she's just not, I felt like at this point where she kind of needed to rise to the occasion, she couldn't do it. So that's my opinion. It takes her down a notch or two in my book. Nobody has to agree with me, but as a competitor, that's how I feel about Simone Biles' decision to step back from competition. And let me explain why I feel the way that I do. In sports and life, I've been in situations where I was not bringing my A game. Mentally, I was in the wrong place to be the competitor that I wanted to be. But I still went out there and I did my best. And sometimes if I was on a team, or I lost whatever it was I was trying to do. I took that L on the chin. And I just feel like that's how you compete. Like, speaking of L's, remember when our men's basketball team didn't win gold in the Olympics? If you recall 2004, we had a roster. We had AI, Stephon Marbury, Dwayne Wade, Carmelo, LeBron, Sean Marion, Amari Stoudemire, Carlos Boozer, Tim Duncan, Lamar Odom, Richard Jefferson, and Emeka Okafor. When we had that team, we lost to Lithuania, we lost to Argentina, and Puerto Rico. Yeah, I mean, we got the bronze, but we had LeBron. Space Jam? So, in my opinion, that sucked big time, even though we got a medal. But at the same time, we all moved on. It was a moment of loss. And yes, I consider the bronze a loss, because if you're not first, you're last, right? Just kidding. But it still, it wasn't gold, which we all were expecting. But at the same time, they took that bronze medal and they owned it. And in fact, in the 2021 Olympics, last week when Simone was backing down, our men's team lost their opening basketball game to France, but they were still playing. So yeah, I'm disappointed that Simone wasn't able to adjust. I saw a meme about Tom Brady and LeBron James not quitting when things were going wrong. And I'm going to be honest, I agreed with it. Now, I can't stand Tom Brady, but I see him as a real competitor. When things are down, he goes into the locker room or sidelines, makes adjustments, deflates the ball, whatever he needs to do to win because the win matters. He's a leader. He doesn't say, guys, I know that it's all on me, but I took a couple of sacks, I threw an interception, and right now I just don't trust myself. So I'm just going to sit this out. I'll regroup. You can put in the second string quarterback, and I'll be back next week. Can you imagine? Oh my God, I would give that man so much hell. And in fact, when LeBron didn't appear to be able to get it done and bring Cleveland a championship, even though he was arguably the best player in the NBA, I gave him trash. I felt like LeBron had to develop a killer instinct to go along with all that talent. It took a long time before I put some spec on his name. Truth be told, I didn't feel bad about my feelings about LeBron then, and I don't feel bad about him now. Competitive spirit matters to me. So when he didn't seem to have the personal drive and desire to win no matter what, like Kobe, it took him down a notch or two in my eyes. And I feel the same way about Simone. Now for the record, I'm an equal opportunity trash talker. That's what we want, right? We want to treat both sexes the same. Well, if that's the case, then I'm not feeling Simone sitting out the Olympics. The Olympic swimmer, Katie Ledecky, took some L's this year. They weren't really L's, though, because she still medaled, and then she still got some gold medals. But she definitely took some losses. But either way, she was out there swimming and losing, but she was still competing. Now, I want to switch gears for a second. Let's discuss the other big topic, Naomi Osaka and mental health. I see a lot of people comparing Simone's withdrawal from competition to Naomi Osaka's decision not to do press during the May 2021 French Open. Citing concern for her mental health, her failure to appear resulted in Naomi being fined $15,000 for missing a post-match interview. When she decided, that's fine, I'm not going to do any interviews until the tournament was over, they said, hold up, we're going to threaten you with possible expulsion from the Grand Slam. For reference, the French Open is one of the 4 Grand Slam tournaments. So they were like, if you're not going to participate, then there's a chance that you won't be able to try to win a Grand Slam championship. And Naomi said, okay, deuces. She pulled out of the French Open altogether. Now, Naomi Osaka gets a lot of press because she was the first Asian tennis player to be ranked number 1 by the Women's Tennis Association, and she's the first Japanese-born player to win a Grand Slam. She has since won 4 Grand Slams, and after her tournament withdrawal, she wrote a piece in Time magazine where she detailed her struggle with depression. So her article and subsequent tweets started calling for a change in tennis journalism and the mental health treatment of athletes, and that has gotten her a lot of praise. Regarding the press, she wants to update the press conference format and make it more peer-to-peer. I don't really know what that means, but that's what she's asking for. She is facing pushback. She wrote in the article that upon reflection, it appears to her that the majority of tennis writers do not agree with her. For most of them, the traditional press conference is sacred and not to be questioned. One of the main concerns that they had was that Naomi might set a dangerous precedent, but to her knowledge, no one in tennis has missed a press conference since. The intention was never to inspire revolt, but rather to look critically at our workplace and ask if we can do better. That was a quote from her article. So I have a question. What exactly is Naomi Osaka's workplace? Well, of course, her main focus has been tennis. But as she rose to superstardom in the sports world, plenty of other companies have come knocking. Her sports marketing company is IMG, and they have her leveraged heavily. She has over 15 sponsors, whom she says she specifically chose because they were liberal, empathetic, and progressive. You go, girl. They include Nissan, Nike, and Nippon Air, just to name a few. Her winnings and sponsorships made her the highest paid female athlete in 2021, more than Serena Williams. So that was from middle of 2020 to 2021. She earned $37.4 million the last 12 months from prize money and endorsements. Now, I'm not knocking the hustle, but could it be that the push to have it all has brought her to this point? And more importantly, is the burden to make sure that she is mentally prepared for all aspects of being an elite athlete. Is that the role of the Tennis Association or the associated tournaments? Shouldn't IMG be taking on that responsibility instead of blaming other organizations? In her own words, written in Time magazine, she claims to have never been media trained, so she really gives herself to the media. I think that's an unwise position given the obligation she holds to so many paid advertisers outside of her main role as a tennis player. It's not clear to me that the French Open and their press is to blame. I'm inclined to look at the people who are the handlers for successful athletes that are also marketing powerhouses. After all, they are getting rich as they make her richer. Now again, she has the right to do what she needs for the sake of her mental health. But it also makes me wonder if she's ready to play tennis and all the things that come on this level. Sure, she's great, but being an elite athlete takes physical talent and a level of mental tenacity that she might not be able to handle. Does that take away from her skill set? Absolutely not. But it doesn't mean that the system should change for her or that somehow the rules don't apply to her. She refused to do press. They made threats. She left, and we all moved on. I don't think that's something that should have stopped the whole world, and in some ways, I'm really not sure it should be applauded. We're all a part of the circle of life. Essentially, we are all a cog in a wheel that keeps this place going. Generation after generation, you and me, we have a job. Her job is tennis, and she's great at it. But once people saw a, quote, relatively fresh face with a great backstory combined with being youthful and bicultural, which are two attributes that help her resonate with younger global audiences, the result is the emergence of a global sports marketing icon. And that's from David Carter, a sports business professor at USC's Marshall School of Business. So essentially, Naomi had a job, and then she added 10 to 15 more jobs. And now they're saying the first job is too stressful and they need to change and accommodate her. That don't make sense to me. But I know that they'll do it because she's a world-class athlete and a sports marketing icon. It's the perks of being a celebrity. However, as an example, I respect her for backing off after allowing so much on her plate that she couldn't handle it all. By all means, yes, do what you must. But for Black Twitter and others to point fingers at tennis organizations that are following an established code of conduct necessary to have an organized 18-day event that includes Naomi Osaka and at least 100 other players is uncalled for. She is one person who pulled out because of her own exhaustive and anxiety-ridden schedule. It sounds to me that she overbooked herself and is not allowing her to be an elite athlete, which is very demanding. I'm not sure if being a sports marketing icon is what she wants to do, or if she's having to refocus on tennis after being pulled in a million directions. What I do know is that it's a personal decision, And while I respect it, I'm not applauding her or praising her for making it. We all do that every day. It's called adulting. I want to thank you for listening today. I hope you can see my point of view. I hope you don't see me as picking on these women, because I'm not. This is just my opinion in terms of competition and also some of the requirements to be an elite athlete. And are you going to be an elite athlete, or are you going to be a sports marketing icon? Maybe you can't do both. I want to thank everybody for watching today. Hopefully you made it through the whole video. I understand that my point of view on this topic isn't popular, but it is my real opinion, and that's what you're going to get here on Curly Girl Politics. You're going to get the real from me, whether it's popular or not. So I want to thank you guys for watching again. We'll have another video coming out. I'm working on my "Is this racist?" video. That should be coming out soon. So until next time, I'm just asking that you give me a thumbs up, leave a comment, and please subscribe to the channel so you can be notified when new videos come up. This is Curly Girl Politics. I want to thank you for watching, and remember, until the next time, to slow down, listen, and vibrate higher. Peace.